Fun fans, and welcome back to another episode of the Fun Fans Podcast. I'm your host, James Dillard. With me, as always, my co-host, Bailey Jackson. How you doing, Bailey?
I'm good. We're back.
As you can see, we have former defensive tackle Vance Hammond with us, and we're going to get to a good interview with him later. We're going to talk about some basketball and Bailey's basketball beat. We're going to also talk about some conference expansion, our game day designations for the upcoming football season, and we'll highlight opening weekend for baseball and softball that we had at Clemson this past weekend. And we have our first ever tumbler giveaway. Look at there, from our friends at Diamond Etch Products and your friends here at the Fun Fans Podcast. But first, we need to point out that we are part. Oh, that was a good one, wasn't it? That's great stuff. Part of the Fanboys Fangirls Podcast Network. If you're a true sports fan, the Fanboys Fangirls is perfect for you. Find various nationwide podcasts and other sports media at thefanboys.com, all over Twitter, Facebook, Instagram. The Fun Fans Podcast is the official podcast for Clemson fans. If you scroll to the bottom of thefanboys.com, you can help support our troops at Homes for Troops at the bottom of the Fanboys website. And we love supporting Homes for Troops. There we go. Just get that up there for a second. And what else do we love, Bailey?
Well, we love Clemson and we love Rubens. Rubens has two locations in the upstate, 1083 Batesville Road in Greer and 11028 Anderson Road in Piedmont. Food, sports, spirits, and catering. Find them at rubensc.com. It's simply a great place to eat for all sports fans. And James, you went over there last night, right?
Oh, man, yeah. I went to Rubens last night after our home playoff basketball game. A little shout-out to the GMC Blazers for a great season in basketball. Didn't make it past the second round, but honestly, it was a great season to get into the second round. But my daughter and I went to Rubens, and you know, everybody thinks about wings and there's French fries and all that kind of stuff. I actually, you know, it's the new year and trying to be, you know, new me, new whatever. Little grilled chicken wrap action with a vegetable medley. If you see the picture on my Facebook, so it's you can do whatever you want at Rubens. But another quick shout out while we're there to the Eric Wheeler band. I hope I'm pronouncing that correctly. Don't know the guy, but they were doing a great job. So if anybody just want to give a shout out to them, I thought, you know, for a cover band of what they were doing there, I thought those guys were doing a really, really good job. So anyway, very good. But let's get to our guest. Mr. Vance Hammond is a USA Today top 25 pick from Dorman High School. We might talk about the U a little more in the podcast here. One of the Tigers' most decorated recruits from 1986, lettered for Clemson at defensive tackle from 1987 to 1990, and was actually drafted by the Phoenix Cardinals and spent 3 years in the CFL. Mr. Vance Hammond. Vance, how are you doing today?
Hey, doing great. Doing good. Thank you for having me. I appreciate the call.
Hey, we appreciate you being on here. And I'm on real quick before we get into the questions.
Sure.
And Vance don't even know this, but I remember watching him play. And I'm not going to say when I was a kid because we're right behind Vance. And I actually went to the high school. We played against Dorman. And I remember thinking, boy, I'm glad I didn't have to play against Vance Hammond. Came in just a couple of years after that in Region 2 4A. Folks our age remember that old Region 2 4A.
Oh, I do. Yeah.
Oh man, that was some tough going. So
it was.
But anyway, so Vance, tell Clemson Nation what you're up to these days. What's Vance Hammond got going on?
Oh, Vance, living the dream. Married, raising kids. You know, there are 3 hots in a cot. But working for the kids upstate. We're a youth development organization that does after school and also summer camps. We're in 18 sites in Spartanburg and Cherokee County, and serve over 1,700 kids a day in after school. And usually we serve about 800 in the summertime. And just love what I get a chance to do. I've been working for them for 19 years now. And, like I said, there's not a kickball game I can't play and a snack that I don't like.
I heard that. That's awesome. So speaking of playing the sport, and maybe this is a question everybody wants to know, what was it like playing for legendary Coach Ford?
Coach Ford was fantastic. He was honest, fair, taught me a lot of life lessons. He was a great recruiter, as everybody probably would know. But more than anything, just a great mentor and a great person to have a chance to be recruited by. I mean, when I was coming through '81 national championship, the dark years, which they were fantastic. Nobody talks about '82, '83, '84. 85, we come back and make the Independence Bowl, and it's like, okay, that program, he's fought it through, he's worked it through, all that great talent, even through probation, everything else. And when he recruited me, Switzer had called, Holtz had called, all these coaches had called, and I'd tell Mama, and I'd come home and I'd say, Mama, and Barry Switzer wants to come by the house. He wants to do a home visit. She'd go, no, you just tell him to meet you up there at the school. I said, okay. I said, Mama, didn't Holtz wants to come by? No, you go ahead, just meet, baby. It's your decision. There's no need to have to do anything other. You're gonna be a big boy. You're gonna make a good decision. I said, Mama, Coach Ford wants to come by the house. She goes, when's he coming? What's he want to eat? And that was the true story. I had half my church in the whole neighborhood there. He stayed for about 4 hours on his home visit. We had the best time. But he was honest. He was always up front. You didn't want to have to talk to him, but if you did have to talk to him, if he told you, yeah, he could help you out, or yeah, you was wrong, he was telling you the truth. Several times, just growing up and being young, I always appreciate, and even now that I'm older, he didn't play any mind games. I mean,
right.
if you wasn't doing what you're supposed to, he'd tell you ain't doing what you're supposed to. There wasn't any fancy words or psychology about it. It was either get it right or get going, or you're gonna have a long day ahead of you. And I appreciate that. And he was always honest and upfront with me. And still to this day, he was when I got the job with Kids Upstate and had to have a fundraiser. I remember moving back here and back home, and I didn't know who to call. And I said, well, somebody said, call Coach Ford. And I said, well, I got his cell number. And sure enough, he answered. And he said, I'll be there. Just tell me what date. And one of the best fundraisers I ever had, and did a fantastic job. And he's that type of guy. He's loyal. He's honorable. He's a good man.
All right. Well, I believe in booking a meeting from a meeting, and you talking about Coach Ford and the cell phone number. You might have to help us get him on the podcast. Now, we walked past Coach Ford on our way to the game, every game, right, Bailey?
Yep.
And hey, there's Coach Ford. And I don't know. It's hard to even say hello. He's a legend, and don't know me or whatever. But we should probably at least say hello, because definitely heard.
Offer him a glass of sweet tea and something to eat, and he'll be there every Saturday.
I heard that. So I also heard that your dad was a state trooper that helped the coaches on and off the field. Was that when you played?
Well, I mean, that's a beautiful story. Yeah, thank you so much for talking about my daddy. My daddy's the one. He played at Wingate, it was a junior college, and won the state championship when he was in high school. I can talk about my daddy on about a whole hour, but Daddy was a highway patrolman, a trooper. We got to go to the ball games. They used to be at Hardee's over there, believe it or not, across the street from the stadium, and that's where Daddy worked. Daddy worked that intersection. I think he parked the preacher so much he finally got on the deacon board at the church. But anyway, and he was a Clemson grad, Joe Dempsey. But anyway, that's how I got to go to Clemson. At 9 years old, I'd go with Daddy, and 1 o'clock kickoff, he'd let me out of that car, and I'd just take off. I'd just go anywhere I wanted. And the only rule was, as long as I could see the stadium, I could go anywhere I wanted on that campus, and just had great memories, great times. Got to play in. Daddy would get into the stadium about second quarter, had to leave the third quarter. And this is what I'm telling you about Coach Ford. It all ties in together. My brother was a GA there, Mark Hammond, your Secretary of State. And I started playing, and I had the red shirt year, but I got to play in the next year. And I just went in there and honestly sat down in the meeting with Coach Ford. I said, Coach, we got to talk. And he goes, what's wrong, Vance? I said, my dad has to work these games, and my dad don't get into the stadium until the second quarter. And I said, he has to leave the third. And I said, Coach, it just really break my heart. My dad didn't get to see me play a whole ball game because he got to work. And he said, well, I don't think that's right either. And we needed the money. That's what that was. Daddy got overtime for it. So anyway, long story short, about 12 hours after that, Daddy called me in my dorm room and said, the colonel just called me. And I said, really? He goes, yeah. He said, Coach wants me to be his bodyguard. I said, he wants me to escort the team in, wants me to go to any away games if I want to go. It does not wants me to take him home after the game, after the press conference, so I don't miss anything. I said, well, that's just the greatest news I've ever heard, Daddy.
That's right.
But that's right. That's the type of man he was. And like I said, he didn't have to do that. And we made memories. My first game against Virginia Tech, touching the rock with my brother, Mark, running down that hill, and my daddy down there on that sideline waiting for me to come down that hill. What a moment to share as a family, to accumulate just years of going over there. And just like I said, just being able to be a Tiger from 9 years old all the way up to 55.
There you go. Yeah, that's awesome.
Thank you.
That is definitely awesome. So, speaking of the college football, and obviously things are a lot different now than they were back. We can say back in the day because it's about the same time me and Bailey, it was just right before Bailey and I were students over there. Mm-hmm. What in your opinion is the biggest positive change in college football? And I mean, as a whole, not necessarily Clemson, but all the NIL, the transfer portal, the TV, this, that, and the other. What in your opinion is the most positive change?
Oh God, I mean, it's changed. It's changed so much. Like I said, when we still had a couple of 1 o'clock kickoff games when I played, and then TV revenues, TV, the opportunity to be on TV every game is unbelievable. NIL, I think it's still a lot to be worked out with this process and procedures. I think Clemson's done a very good job of kind of wading the waters and kind of getting the ducks lined up. I think a lot of people may have jumped on a little bit too early and over-promised, under-promised. It was going to be more than they thought it was going to be. I think we did the right thing. I think there's a lot of good people making good decisions about that. I think it's great that the kids get so much, social medias, and I think it's bad. I think the poor kids can't hide. And can't get away, but I think the growth of the game, the way they play the game, the way they coach the game, there's a lot more. You're a lot more athletic. I tell even my own son, when he's lifting, they're doing so many different workouts that I would have. They would strap us up, shoot the monument up our nose, and say, here's 1,000 pounds on the sled, see if you can push it. Mm-hmm. Where they're doing, different workouts and more athletic things and explosion type stuff. And it really has. It's changed in a good way. But NIL, transfer portal, I think there's some good things in that. I think it's great that a lot of these kids are understanding business and understanding, what opportunities are really in front of them and understanding networking. I was always impressed with Dabo and Clemson years ago when he was bringing in people and they were having discussions about, what are you going to do after ball? What is your plan? What these are people who make business decisions. This is what business is. Not to knock it, but when I was there, I went to class, I went to Jervy, and I went to the stadium, and that was my rotation every day. If I did see somebody, it was just, like we're doing here, hee-haw about football. And I'm not knocking it, but it's really great how they're showing these kids how you can make a living, how you can make an impact in your community, in your business, and in your careers. Right.
That is good. That is good. A lead up, follow up, I guess, is, and you mentioned the social media can be a bad thing probably for all of us, but mm-hmm. definitely young folks. What do you think is the biggest negative to how football has changed? Is it the social media or is there something else?
I think social media, has a lot to do with it. I think a lot of the press for attention, I think, either you're going to make attention for yourself by acts on or off the field or by setting up a character, or you're going to be this super phenomenal athlete that's going to be like, well, this guy's special and he ain't got to do anything extra. And then you get the perfect storm, like you may be a Dion who can do both. Right. He's a great athlete. He's a great salesman. He can promote himself, and you get that rare star like that. But I worry about those that spend more time to themselves. The I, the me. Football is still a team sport. The thing that I worry about in NILs and worry about just this is how it was in the league and all that other stuff. And you wonder why quarterbacks buy their offensive line Rolexes every Christmas. It's because they want to stay alive. So that's what I get kind of worried about. You sit there and eventually, if he's over here showing his tail and coach is letting him show his tail and he's making, 1.5 and I'm making 20,000, I mean, I'd be pleased with it myself. But why am I getting the same, why am I not getting the same perk? And then you kind of get into the hee-haw and the locker room banders, and it's just growing, and it's just men making, people, being people. I think the I in football, and it's hard to explain this, especially to this younger generation that's so into what I've done, my likes, my social media, my image, my platform, my NIL, my, and then you're in a game that takes 11. And if you ain't got five up front, it's wanting to protect you. If you ain't got five in front, the defensive line wanting to keep that big line off the linebacker. I mean, everybody's got to do their job. That's the greatest game about football. LeBron can go find 4 scrubs, and LeBron could probably get to the championship. But I'm telling you right now, you can't do that in football.
That is correct.
And everybody's got to do their job, and everybody's got to. You've got to block just as much as, and that's what kind of worries me about. Yes, you go make the play, that's fine, but third down, if I need you to block at that safety, and you don't get inside and go block at safety, and I don't pop this run, we got problems. You just don't run the route when you got your call on the slant, or you got your call on the screen, or even on offensive lineman. It just goes on. But that's the thing that kind of bothers me as we move into this new era, and kind of see, and even talking to these younger kids, they want the spot. They want to see how many likes they get. They want to see, I hate to say it, the showboat or something like that. It's refreshing to see a young man run, score a touchdown, put the ball down, or hand it to the ref and go to the sideline and congratulate the other player. And we got a lot more of that when we do anything. I just hate the other ones getting the attention.
That's right. And social media is tough on a lot of folks, young folks, and not just athletes. And like you said, there's been the locker room, what's going on in the locker room. That's always been a thing in sports. And now you've thrown money, and in a lot of cases, big money, in that mix with these young kids. And who knows what really yet to be seen, probably some of the negative aspects that could possibly come out of that. Hopefully, and like at Clemson is hopefully being handled in a lot of other schools are handling in a very, very professional. Bailey and I did an entire episode on NIL and transfer portal. If anybody wants to go check it out on YouTube, but yeah, pros and cons for sure when it comes to the changes in college. That's kind of like what we said. But what about Clemson specifically? Being a former Clemson player, how do you feel about the state of our program right now?
It reminds me when I played. We were 40-8, 10-2 every year, and it's like, oh God, we're so close, but we're so far. And we've had that the last 2 years. But I think the program itself, watching Dabo, watching him coach, being in meetings, or not meetings, but just, hearing him speak and getting to be a participant as an alumni, and talking to some of the former players and listening to him and watching some of his moves. Coach McCormick over there's Woody, and Dan Pierman's over there, who Woody coached me, and I played with Pierman when I was over there. And when, you can kind of sit down and eat a piece of fried chicken and really get down to the nuts and bolts of it. Very exciting. I like what he's building. Clemson, as I said before, I've always felt like when Clemson won the championship in 1981, we really didn't know what star we had. We didn't I don't know if we really, as a university, as a community, understood what you just did. Right. This is thin air. This sets programs off in a whole nother direction. And then you had the probation and 4-1. I mean, and then we're going to go give you money. We got to wait. I mean, so you go through them whole years, but now you got, okay, we got to do this. If we're going to be competitive, if we're going to make the revenue, if we're going to be an elite program, which Clemson is and will be, and they vested it, even with Bowden, but then of course with Dabo to the next step, and he has taken that. And I've always said he runs a business. He's a great coach. He's a great leader. But if you really want to go back and look at him, I think he finished in business administration from Alabama. But if you go back and really look at him and how he sets up and layers that program and his expectations, and when he pulled the trigger like he did, I said, now that's the Dabo I know. I said, that's the one that let Steele go. That's the one that went and found Morris. That's the one that knew Venables was available. That's the one who had his finger on the pulse and said, if I'm going to go, I'm going to go get that guy because he's gettable right now, and I got to move on. I've got to keep this momentum going. And I've got to be the best I can be in my position, which is hiring because any head coach will tell you, you're only as good as what's underneath you.
That's right.
I mean, you're only as good as your coordinators and your coaches. And all you're doing is, kissing. I mean, I hate to say it, but you're kissing the babies and doing the speeches and moving the pieces. And he's really, I think he's about to get back to that. And it's going to be really huge for us.
Good. We're looking forward to it. I know that's a very good analysis in my opinion, that's for sure. What about this podcast is about being a fan. We talk about our experiences. Do you regularly go to the games? Do you just go and hang out and watch, or do you alumni guys get treated in some, do y'all just give us an inside sneak peek if you don't mind? Yeah.
Well, there's a limousine.
Red carpet.
There's a limousine that pulls an and they got a magic escalator that takes us all the way to the
right.
Right to the upper deck, second row from the top. No, I'm kidding.
Who wants to dot the I today? Any of you Letterman want to dot the I?
Anyone here? I got to be a captain, honorary captain. I'm in the Block C, which is the alumni for all the Letterman club former players. Bob Mahoney does a great job over there running that. And we get together, but I got to be an honorary captain this year for one game and had a great experience. It's first class, but even then you get to go to with the membership, the Block C, you get to go to Little John. They have a little tailgate section, and they have some food where we can go over there and get a bite to eat and fellowship and socialize. And then they'll also have a golf tournament in April at the spring game and some other events. But during the game, I got to 4. I went to the last 4 this year. It's the first time I made 4 in a row, and that last one, I still, trying to get that taste out of my mouth. But anyway, don't get me going. So, but we went, and every time I've got friends and they've got kids there and family, and it's just home. I can't say anything more about it. I've got a couple of my buddies and Robbie Derricks and David Joys and Roger Hutchins and Chuck O'Brien's. I can go on, and Stacy Seegers, and when they all come in, we all get up under the tent and, talk about how great it was and how much better we were. So anyway, but have a great time. Get back as soon as I can. But they do a great job. Clemson, in developing their alumni and listening to other players. I mean, there's still some things that, we're working on to really bring those players back, really to let them, I hate to be as nice as I can, but have the experience of what they did for us at Clemson, for our fans, for the university, and treat them really well. And I think Clemson does a fantastic job of keeping in touch and offering these programs. And that's all the sports. I mean, they have soccer reunions and all the letter sports and bringing people back and trying to get them on campus. So it's really, really impressive. I'm once again just proud to be a Tiger.
Very good, and that's good to hear. They take care of you guys because y'all did do a good job and more work than anybody that didn't play probably is aware of for sure off the field. So I have a question. So as we were doing our research, this picture, it's like always pops up, and I'm like, Vance played defensive tackle. So the question is, how did you end up with the ball, and did you score?
Oh, God. Well, yeah, I had a couple of people put that on the chat on Facebook, and I was like, well, I kind of thought like Paul Harvey. I said, wait, now the rest of the story. I'm probably aging myself saying Paul Harvey. So anyway, that was against North Carolina, Baby Blue. Because like I said, Baby Blue always looks best in my taillights. But anyway, there was a hitch pass that they threw. Donald, I think, was the quarterback then. I can't remember the kid's name. Big old scrappy youngster, as Coach Ford would say. But anyway, he threw a hitch pass, and I turned and ran to the ball, like you do all the time. Pursuit angles. So kids, listen, if any young kids out there, pursuit angles matter. Yep. Run your pursuit angles.
That's right.
You never know where that ball might come or that runner might bounce towards you. So take your angles. There's a reason for the season. But I took the pursuit angle. It bounced off. Donnell Wolford jumped the hitch. So Wolford was just unbelievable corner, first round draft choice, Chicago Bears, and just a beast. So he jumped the hitch. And when he jumped the hitch, the ball hit him square in the helmet. And when it hit him in the helmet, it came back toward me end over end, and it hit me right in the belly. And I just thank God I ran the right direction because I just started laughing my butt off. I could not believe I was holding the football in front of 80,000 people, and they all going ballistic. So that was really, I took off. I made 37 yards. I tell Otis Moore, if you block that guy, I appreciate it, but the quarterback's the one you should have got because he's the one that knocked me out of bounds at the 2 in front of the cheerleaders. But yeah, made it to the 2-yard line, and they fired the cannon anyway. I knew the guy that was the cheerleader. I think he was so excited he fired it. But we always told everybody Daddy pulled his revolver out and let a few loose.
That would have been good. Close, pretty close enough.
That was awesome. That picture's followed me a long time. It really has.
Well, I was rounding up some pictures. My wife is actually one of the librarians at Dorman.
Oh,
so I actually had access to some older pictures.
James, that's media specialist.
Well, I think they're back to librarians now.
Okay.
I don't know. So, but we figured we wouldn't go there. But some old high school.
Oh, throw them up.
Cavalier pictures.
The mullet's coming back. Show it back. It hurt my feelings.
Yeah.
I think when I did my letter of intent up there in McMahon up there across from the weight room where we signed, Mama was up there in the picture in the Herald Journal, and I think I had on a polo with an Oxford over the top with my collar up, and I was like, God, I really dated myself there.
That's it. That's right. Classic.
Exactly.
So you want to tell us one more time about, how could folks support your organization or anything before we let you go?
I'd be glad to. Thank you so much. It's Kids Upstate. Like I said, we are it's kidsupstate.org. You can pick a club. We're in District 3 in all elementary schools. We're in District 7, all elementary schools, and District 2, all elementary schools, and also in Cherokee County. So you can even go in there and pick a school or a site that you know that you may have a child in, or you may want to know more about in those schools for after-school programs and where we're serving kids. And go check us out. We're really doing some great work. And I want to say one thing too. I want to say this is not. Please let me. This is most important of all that we talk about and hee haw about. And there's a generation of kids coming through. They're doing great things, and they're making great decisions, and they want to do good things. They are doing good things. Please don't get caught up in this world. And go see these youngins, go hold these youngins, go hold your own youngins, and go have fun with them because they are doing great things. This world is not winning. These kids are making great choices spiritually, education-wise, and let me tell you right now, there's great things coming on in this future. Hold on, keep working, keep loving, keep hugging. Ask every kid every day, how was your day? What'd you have for lunch? What can I do to help? Those 3 questions, a child ought to hear every day of their life.
Amen. So our guest last week, Alex, an 11th grader, was a message about telling kids don't believe what's on social media. Believe in yourself. He's good. There's some really, really good kids out there. I know Bailey and I get to help those kids on a daily basis. Vance, we had to get you come to our schools.
Love to. Let me know.
Yeah.
Love to be there.
We're kind of tucked away, but that would be really, really good stuff. And we do appreciate you being on. Nothing else to say in closing better than that right there. But maybe we can definitely stay in touch, and you're always welcome at the Fun Fans tailgate over on the extension over there. And just great to have you once again, and go Tigers. We appreciate it.
Go Tigers. Thank you so much for having me. Thank you for your time.
Appreciate you being here.
Thank you. Appreciate you.
All right, B. That was
good
cool
stuff. Good stuff.
Man, that was really good. Really, I don't, I think we almost should just end and move on, but
no.
We cannot do that because it is time for Bailey's basketball update. Let's hear it, B.
So, all right. So Clemson split 2 games this week. If you don't know, you know now. Beat Florida State by 40 points at home the other night, and then lost last night at Louisville on the road. Louisville arena, probably basketball's bigger in Kentucky, and they're not used to having 3 or 4 wins on the season. But their arena probably holds 20,000 people, and it was pretty full last night because they were honoring the last national championship team that they had, and then they decided to play like, maybe they were capable of playing. And Clemson honestly didn't shoot the ball well at all, and lost a game they shouldn't have lost. All right, so it happens. Now, the funny thing is, I've got a friend of mine who he doesn't text me Brownell hate mail when they beat Florida State by 40 points. He doesn't text me Brownell hate mail when they win the first 7 games of the ACC. But last night, it was welcome to the NIT, so long NCAA tournament. And I just disagreed with him. He wants Coach Brownell to be removed. And now I did not respond to him last night because I was a little irritated with the game. And I knew that I would have a chance on this podcast to do this. And he will be a new listener and subscriber and watcher right after we get done here tonight. All right. So I'm going to give you a little bit of background. In 112 seasons of basketball at Clemson, the overall record is 1399 and 1350. Okay. That is the definition of mediocrity.
That's right.
All right. 51% winning percentage, and I rounded up. Okay. All right. The bottom line is Clemson currently has, they're second in the nation in free throw percentage. All right. So last night was one of those nights where they weren't even making their free throws. All right. They have the most wins in conference history for Clemson University right now. If they don't win another one, they tied. And they have one of the best defensive teams in the conference, according to the stats. And, sometimes, like Vance was talking about, football's 11 on 11. Basketball is only 5 on 5. So Louisville has 5 legit Division I basketball players. All right. And those 5 did not get in foul trouble. They played well. They killed us on the glass. We did not shoot it well. And you lose the game. All right. That's what it happens. It's hard to win on the road. I don't care what conference you play in. It's hard to win on the road. Now, I'm going to go a little bit deeper into Clemson basketball history. All right. So in our lifetime, James, I'm going to skip Tate's Lock because he was the coach when we were born.
Okay.
All right. Because my buddy sent me a text, and just bear with me, I'm going to read it. Okay. I said, I hope for your sake that Clemson gets another coach so you can complain about that one too. And he said, well, I didn't complain about Rick Barnes, Bill Foster, and Cliff Ellis. All right, so let me go through the coaches in our lifetime, and I'm just going to do ACC record. All right, Bill Foster was the coach for 9 seasons. He was 44-74 in the Atlantic Coast Conference. That's 37%. He went to 2 NCAA tournaments. Cliff Ellis for the next 10 years was 56-90 in the ACC, and that's 38%. He went to 3 NCAA tournaments. Rick Barnes, 4 years, Rick Barnes, 28. And Rick Barnes is a great coach.
Yeah.
I loved Rick Barnes. He was coaching when I first started coaching, and I tried to do everything like he did. And he stood up to Dean Smith at the Dean Dome. But he was only 28-36 in the ACC. That's 43%. He went to 3 NCAA tournaments. Larry Scheid after that was 20-50 in the ACC, 28%, no tournaments. 7 years, Oliver Purnell, 50-62 in the ACC. That's 45%, 3 NCAA tournaments. And in his 13th season, Brad Brownell, who is the school leader in wins, is 114-116 in the ACC, which is just under 50%.
Right.
He is the most successful coach in the ACC ever at Clemson. All right. And he's been to 3 NCAA tournaments. So let's put everything in perspective before we, like Vance just told us, we live in this world that's not right. And because we have social media, we have ESPN, we have Fox Sports, we have all these outlets that they can talk about everything all the time. The easiest thing to do is to blame the coach and fire the coach. That's what we do.
That's right.
All right. Well, I can tell you that Brad Brownell knows basketball. And we had open 3 after open 3 after open 3 after open 3, and we didn't make them last night. Well, guess what coach put them in the position to have a wide open 3-pointer? Same
Brownell.
one.
Yeah.
Same one.
Yeah.
All right. He can't make the shots. All right. And yeah, I'm a little fired up about this because it's just not fair. You know, I coach forever. It's not fair. It's not fair to the people. The people sitting at home throwing stuff at the television. They don't watch film 6 hours a day. They don't practice for 2 more hours. They don't get on a bus or a plane or whatever. And then their livelihood depends on the actions of 18 to 22-year-olds.
Right.
They don't do that. So let's just put it all in perspective and where Brad Brownell ranks in terms of ACC wins among Clemson coaches and how well respected he is in the ACC.
Yeah.
So I am now off my soapbox.
There you go. Good job. I appreciate all the numbers. Kind of bigger picture view, in my opinion, is that the program is obviously better. Like, this is one of the best seasons other than that year we won the regular season ACC, just that one time in the middle of not really good stuff. He's building the right type of program. You can't the people that talk about firing somebody, they obviously are not in positions to really evaluate somebody's overall job performance and make a decision on whether they want to keep it or not. And, you know, there may come a time where he's no longer the coach at Clemson, but he is still building the program, and overall the program is continuing to get better overall. Now, like you said, we lost a game we should not have lost, but you don't fire somebody off of one basketball game. So hang in there. There's 4 games left. Am I right?
That's right. Oh, yeah. We got Wednesday night, Syracuse at home. I'm just going to tell you, at NC State next Saturday is going to be tough, really tough.
And that's a very important game, right? Because that's the 4-5.
Clemson's still in 4th place. Still in 4th place right now.
Still in 4th place. You want to get those 2 byes, but that game against NC State is big, right?
That's a big one. And then because then if you end up tied with them and you've beaten them twice, you win the tiebreaker. Then at Virginia on the 28th, which is another very difficult road game.
That's right.
Virginia is a top 10 team. And then home on March the 4th, Senior Day, Notre Dame. And then the tournament starts the next week. All right. If they win the last 2 games, they're 21-10 overall. And they're like 13-7 in the ACC, which would be the best record Clemson has ever had in the ACC.
Yeah. Yeah.
Or the most wins. The most wins. And yeah, it does help that they added more teams and now you play 20 games, but it's all relative.
And when you build it, honestly, when you build a program historically, if a program is built step by step, year over year, it takes time. They usually last longer. Coming in one time and hey, everything's 25 wins, whatever. Sometimes that's a one and done thing for a program. And if you're really wanting to build a program and you want it to be big time, sometimes it's slow going step by step. In my opinion, that's the way Brownell's doing it. Speaking of big time, J-Do, MC, entertainer, entrepreneur, pep rallies, corporate events, game shows, fundraisers, galas, etc. Just put that man on the mic and let him liven up the party. Not only is J-Do a friend of mine, I've seen him work, and you and your organization will not be disappointed anytime you add J-Do to your function. You can find him at itsjdo.com and on all forms of social media at It's J-Do. And we've talked about how I do have another gala coming up, and we'll talk about that later. We're always working to improve here, and the Fanboys is growing. And real quick, we're just going to point out this weekend was opening day weekend at Clemson. So the girls softball's 10-0, but they first home series was this weekend. And they are ranked, I think, number 7. Maybe it depends on what poll you're looking at. And the Clemson baseball team started, speaking of new coaches, starting under a new coach, off to a great start, 3-0. They swept the series this weekend. And you can find all of the updates on those sports and more at Winning Edge Sports Network. So
now the baseball team, I will say this. They outscored Binghamton, New York, 32-6, and they stole 17 bases in 3 games.
Wow.
So that's a lot of stolen bases in 3 games.
That's huge. Huge. All right. So, and what
And
else?
that's happening on the diamond. What else is
What
going on?
else is on the diamond? Okay. Well, okay,
Oh.
here we go. So it's time for a little bit of product placement from
How
our
about some
friends at
diamond etched products?
Diamond Etch Products. And it's also time for our first Fun Fan tumbler giveaway. Is lighting good? Look here. So that's a Fun Fan tumbler that is going to the winner. So we did a drawing from our subscribers on YouTube. And thanks again to the Diamond Etch Products. The guys have mastered a diamond laser engraving process. They can put almost any design on items such as license plates, yard signs, tumblers, water bottles, and more for a high quality, forever lasting, custom engraved product. Check out Diamond Etch Products at diamondetchproducts.com. For inquiries or orders, reach out to Jalen at diamondetchedproducts.com. So we did a drawing and we have a winner. Okay. We have a winner. I'm going to get this tumbler to the winner this week is Kevron Harris. So Kevron, if you're watching, my man, I'm going to reach out to you. Congratulations on social media.
You're the first.
Yeah, he's the first winner. And so we've got high quality koozies. These are stainless steel double bottle or can koozies here. And I'm going to reach out to Kevron and make sure I get him his tumbler. But from what we're going to do is we're going to switch to drawing out of our followers on Facebook and Twitter. And we'll alternate Facebook one week, Twitter the next, whatever. So find us on social media. We're not that hard to find at Fun Fans Podcast, Facebook, Twitter, YouTube, TikTok as well. And make sure you like and follow. And every week we'll do a drawing of our followers to give away. And we'll also alternate the koozies and the tumblers. But if you do not want to wait, if you just can't wait, we're going to post a link to our new merch store. We have 2 merches. That's still a merch store if you got 2 pieces of merchandise.
Short for merchandise.
Merchandise. So you'll be able to go online and order your own Fun Fans tumbler and or koozie, or just order as many as you want.
Just subscribe or follow us, and you have a chance to win every week.
Chance to win every week. So until further notice, we will keep that in mind for Facebook followers. We'll alternate Facebook, Twitter.
Hey, mom, subscribe to us. You get a chance to win.
Make sure you subscribe. Check us out each and every week. Click subscribe on the platform. Don't just go when you find us. Definitely YouTube as well. We mentioned before that we're always getting better. We're always trying to improve around here. Just want to point out that we now have professional consulting and advisement from a longtime radio and media talent, Captain Jim Slade. Captain Jim is part of the Tanner in the Morning show on WSOC 103.7 out of Charlotte. So I want to give Captain Jim a huge shout out. Bailey, we thought that, we maybe couldn't be any better, but if we get better, if things start improving around here, I guess we might have to give credit to Captain Jim a little bit. So,
yeah, I mean, I'll listen to him in the morning. I'll call in. Tell him I appreciate it.
Yeah, well, he does a segment, Ask Captain Jim, so that's pretty cool. So check him out. Of course, after you've listened to our podcast on your way to work in the morning, we're definitely going to continue to bring you great stories of Fun Fans. Plenty of great guests. We got a former baseball player coming. We got the president of IPTE lined up. Well, not set in a date just yet, but that's coming. So you do not want to miss the show. Bailey, you got anything else for the listeners?
Yeah, just remember I said this. I don't know if you could see. I got my Baltimore Orioles.
I noticed that
hoodie on, and this is the year of the O. And we'll be on here at the end of baseball season too, so we'll talk about it.
Okay, all right, that sounds good. That sounds good. So on behalf of the Fun Fans Podcast, J Thriller Entertainment, the Fanboys, Fangirls Podcast Network, and Bailey Jackson.
That's right. Big shout out to Vance Hammond and his organization, kidsupstate.org, for being with us. And we are out of here.
Yeah, that was a great guest today. Thank you guys for listening.
Awesome.